everyone, welcome to Let's Talk, a nerdy talk show for nerdy people. So today I'm talking about the Nintendo Switch Lite, the Nintendo Switch revamp, and then the new Nintendo Switch JoyCons that were just announced about 3 or 4 days ago now, depending on when you're watching this video. So let's jump in and start with the Nintendo Switch Lite. If you remember when they announced the Nintendo DS Lite, the main selling point was that it was a smaller, lightweight version of the Nintendo DS. The iconic red and black DS Lite is probably the most popular handheld gaming system in the world. Don't fact check me on that though, I'm entirely uncertain of that. I had one as a kid and I used it up until high school when I finally got a 3DS that I still use today, but at its time, it was amazing. So it's not the same concept with the Switch. It's not just making it lighter, it's also cutting out some features and dropping $100 off the price tag. The Nintendo Switch Lite will be $200 and it's going to come out in September. So let's talk about what makes it different. The Nintendo Switch Lite only works in handheld mode. Doesn't that make it not a Switch? Yes, it does, but also I know tons of people who don't even use their Switch docked, which to me is really weird because if I want to play a game, I want to play it on the big TV if I'm at home, and I always have my Switch docked. The only time I play in handheld mode is when I'm in car trips or if I'm traveling on the subway or anything else like that. It's not really my preferred way to play, but to each their own. That's why the Switch was made to be both handheld and docked. But if you don't use that docked, then go with the Switch Lite. From what I can tell, the tech specs are not a lot different. You're still going to get that 720, 30 FPS that you had in handheld with the previous Nintendo Switch. However, you are going to lose out some on the JoyCons. On the Switch Lite, the JoyCons are not removable. It's all in one hard packaged system. Now that does mean it's a little more durable if you were to drop it, because I dropped my Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Cons attached and I lost my left Joy-Con. And as you can imagine, it wasn't great to replace that. But it will be a little harder to do that with the Switch Lite since it's all melded into one piece. However, the Joy-Cons don't have the HD rumble or the IR motion camera. So maybe it's a little lower quality, so to speak, but if you're really fine with not having HD rumble, then it's probably not going to affect your play any. Obviously, it can't dock, it can't go onto the big screen, which means you can't play big screen games. Now, there are a handful of games that only work on the big screen and don't have that handheld compatibility, so you will miss out on that. But things like Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, all of those games are still going to be available to play in the handheld mode. The Switch Lite is also smaller than the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is 4 inches tall and about 9.5 inches long, whereas the Switch Lite will be 3.6 inches tall and 8.2 inches long. So it's a little bit smaller. Same thickness though. You're actually losing weight when you switch over to the Lite, which I would hope so, otherwise it's not really light. It's 0.6 pounds compared to 0.88 pounds. And the touchscreen is the biggest size change with the Switch. You go from having a 6.2 inch touchscreen to a 5.5 inch touchscreen. It's not a huge change, but if you've got garbage eyes like I do, it's enough that you would notice the difference. The Nintendo Switch Lite is going to come in 3 special colors and 1 unique design. The special colors that it will come in are yellow, gray, and turquoise. And then the special design that it will have is it'll be available in Zamazenta and Zamazation stylization, which, if you don't know already, are the 2 new legendaries from Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. However, I want to stress this fact: the Zamazation and Zamazenta version of the Nintendo Switch Lite doesn't come with a copy of Pokemon Sword or Pokemon Shield. So let's talk about the advantage, or at least the biggest advantage that I can see. Despite being a little more portable, the battery life on the Nintendo Switch Lite is 3 to 7 hours. That's approximately 4 hours for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is an hour more than you got on the original Nintendo Switch. But if we're talking battery, the Switch Lite better watch out. The revised Nintendo Switch is different in pretty much only one way. They beefed up the battery. Battery was kind of a big deal for me on the original Nintendo Switch because while I did love the fact that it was super portable, the battery life kind of killed that for me. My 3DS could play games much longer than my Nintendo Switch could. Breath of the Wild would only play for 2.5 hours, but that's not going to be a problem anymore. The brand new Nintendo Switch has 4.5 to 9 hours of battery life, which is even better than the Switch Lite, and to give you the sort of king of it all, it can play Breath of the Wild for 5.5 hours. That's 2.5 hours more than the original Nintendo Switch, and an hour and a half more than the Nintendo Switch Lite. I don't know about you, but I want the newer Nintendo Switch. The last thing I want to talk about now is the new colors of JoyCons. It's been a long time since we got any new Joy-Con announcements. The last ones were the neon yellow ones, I believe. And since then, it's just kind of been silent. There's been a lot of complaints about the Joy-Con drift issue. I personally haven't had any trouble with that, aside from busting a Joy-Con, but that's unrelated. Either way, the new Joy-Con colors, at least, are a placation in the fact that we haven't had any new colors, though I don't believe that they address any of the drift issues, but I guess we won't find out until they're officially released. Now, the two color sets that are being released is one that is purple and neon orange, and then there's another one that is yellow and blue. Now, at first glance, you might think that the neon purple and orange are not as popular as the yellow and blue, but the opposite has happened, actually. See, people seem to be drawn to the fact that the purple and orange is so unusual or different that it's garnered much more attention than the normal yellow and blue has. Although, I'll be honest, I would prefer to be able to choose my Joy-Con colors instead of being forced to get them in a set like it looks like we will with these Joy-Cons. Now that's all I've got for today, and I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and maybe you learned something useful too, or maybe you didn't really care about all this stuff anyway. Either way, I hope you found it informative. Leave a like and subscribe if you would. I do apologize for all the glitchiness with the video. I'm in the process of upgrading all my gear, so hopefully it'll look a little better soon. I do want to remind everyone that if you subscribe and we do hit 3,000 subscribers by November, then I will do a giveaway of a copy of Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. So tell your friends. You don't even have to watch the videos, although that would be appreciated. All you have to do is subscribe to enter. So have a great night.